What if I told you that one of the most powerful goddesses in Greek mythology spent centuries punishing not just mortals but even other gods, all for love and jealousy? And not in dramatic, obvious ways but in ways so subtle, so hidden, that most myths barely hint at her wrath, until it's too late. By the end of this video, you'll see Hera not as a one-dimensional jealous wife, but as a master manipulator whose punishments were as cunning as they were cruel. And there's one story, one subtle act of vengeance, that even historians struggle to fully explain. Stick around, because we'll uncover it. It all begins with love and betrayal. Hera, queen of Olympus, was married to Zeus, a god infamous for his endless affairs. But Hera's jealousy wasn't loud or explosive, it was surgical. Take Io, a mortal woman loved by Zeus. Hera didn't just confront Zeus or punish Io directly. She transformed Io into a cow, an animal so vulnerable. It symbolized Io's helplessness and Hera's control. But here's what most people miss. Hera didn't stop at punishment. She orchestrated the world around Io, sending a gadfly to torment her ceaselessly. This wasn't just revenge, it was psychological warfare, stretching over time, proving that Hera's jealousy was as patient as it was precise. If Hera could torment a mortal, imagine how she treated gods and those who threatened her pride. Hera didn't limit her wrath to mortals. Even gods felt her subtle vengeance. Consider Hercules, Zeus's son with a mortal woman. Hera couldn't confront Zeus directly, so she turned her fury toward Hercules. She sent serpents to his crib, then later struck him with madness that led him to tragedy. And this detail makes it even more shocking. Hera's actions weren't random. Every punishment was designed to humiliate, destabilize, and remind her rivals, even her husband, of her power. Even other goddesses weren't safe. When Eileithyia delayed means labor to hinder Zeus's plans, Hera manipulated events so subtly that the goddesses themselves barely noticed her interference, until the consequences were irreversible. Her wrath wasn't loud, it was invisible but deadly. And the next story reveals her cruelty in a way you might never have expected. This is where the story takes a dark turn. Hera's greatest strength wasn't her power, it was her patience. She could wait decades to punish, using social structures, divine laws, and mortal emotions as weapons. Take Callisto, a follower of Artemis. Zeus seduced her, and when she became pregnant, Hera didn't strike immediately. Instead, she waited until Callisto's shame and isolation could do the damage herself, and then turned her into a bear, both a personal punishment and a lesson to others who might cross her. What happens next changes everything. Even in the heavens, Hera's manipulations created ripple effects, wars, betrayals, and tragedies often traced back to her interventions. And yet, she rarely appears as the villain in myths. But Hera's cleverest punishments were not just about jealousy, they were about reputation, control, and the perception of divine order. If this is already changing how you see Hera, not as just a jealous wife, but as a master strategist, stay with me because the story gets even deeper, revealing her most chilling act yet. Here is the story historians and myth enthusiasts debate endlessly. Hera once plotted against the Trojan prince Paris, not directly. She sowed envy, manipulated alliances, and influenced divine judgments that would ultimately shape the fate of a city. Her subtle manipulation of events, choices, and even promises ensured that the outcomes would serve her pride without her ever raising her hand. And here's the secret. This story isn't just about vengeance, it's about control. Hera used mortals and gods alike as pieces on a chessboard, and only she understood the full strategy. But none of her punishments compared to the quiet, lasting emotional torment she inflicted. And that brings us to the most shocking story of all. The crown jewel of Hera's subtle wrath was her manipulation of love itself. She didn't just punish rivals, she orchestrated heartbreaks, jealousy, and madness. teaching mortals and gods alike that crossing the Queen of Olympus had consequences invisible and devastating. Think about it. Wars started, families torn apart, heroes driven to despair, all while Hera watched silently. Like a shadow, this is the Hera most myths fail to reveal. Patient, calculating, and terrifying in her restraint. Hera's jealousy wasn't petty, it wasn't just anger, it was an art form, subtle, patient, and devastating. She reminds us that true power doesn't always roar, it can whisper, manipulate, and shape the world in ways invisible to the untrained eye. In the end, Hera is more than a jealous wife. She is a lesson in patience, strategy, and the haunting force of quiet fury. If Hera's cunning and patience shocked you, imagine what other secrets Greek mythology hides. Subscribe now, like this video, and comment below. Which god or mortal do you think suffered the most from Hera's subtle wrath?